Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is BC David, and on this channel, I talk about property, I talk about freedom and choice. Well, property as a vehicle for freedom and choice. I also talk about a lot of my contrarian views and subjects around identity, self actualization, purpose, finding fulfillment, finding profit, and living on your own terms. So if you've not been here before, welcome. And I'm right here in Lagos, Nigeria, and it's quite humid. Never mind. Today, I want to respond to a question that a lady raised on a post that I made on Facebook a few days ago. The question is quite deep and philosophical, and it's around identity and survival. Which one comes first? Where does your identity feel native? Which one should you pursue first, as it were? So, the truth and honest answer is that survival comes first. You need to survive. When you're thinking about food, clothing, and shelter, putting food on the table, ensuring that childcare costs are met, ensuring that you pay your bills. That's what's is at the fore of your mind. You're not thinking about identity. You're not thinking about self-actualization or any sort of significance. And the truth is, most people did not leave their home countries to go to the West because they are thinking about identity and significance or how to find self-esteem and things like that. There's a reason why it's called JAPA. People are basically, JAPA means you are running away. You're escaping, as it were. So people are leaving their home countries in the main or in the most part because of survival. Yeah, that's what they are seeking. However, after a few years, you realize that deeper questions begin to come up. After a while, you get to that comfortable level where you pay all your bills, where sometimes some people are even able to afford holidays. So you then begin to ask yourself deeper questions. Where does your identity feel native, for example? Is this all there is to life? Questions around legacy and things like that begin to come up. And there's nothing wrong with that. The real reason for that is because your needs change as you evolve, as you grow in life. You kind of want more as you advance. But that doesn't happen when you're at a survival level. All you're thinking about is how to survive. But the challenge for many people is that they don't plan ahead. They don't ever consider that their needs will change. Either they think that they're going to be at that same level forever, or the questions life will ask of them will stay the same forever, or they just stay stagnant at that level. As I said, many migrants get to the level where their bills are paid, there's food on the table, they're able to travel 2 to 3 times a year, and some of them stay at that stage or in that mode for permanently. Because compared with where they are coming from, this is success. This is success to them. They are doing well, you know. But what then happens is, after a few years, new questions emerge. This is because what constituted a big need for you a few years ago may no longer be a need for you a few years down the line. You start to ask yourself questions like, why am I working nonstop, but I still feel like I'm stuck? Is this country helping me grow, or is it just helping me to survive? Am I building a life, or am I just paying bills? Are my children going to see my culture as theirs, or is it just going to remain mine? Are they going to choose my values? Would this place still serve me in my 60s and in my 70s? When there's winter and you're going to work in the cold, are you still going to feel good doing that in your old age? It's up to you. And this is when, these deeper questions come up. So it's not a question of survival versus identity. It is, you need to survive first. And then after a while, you start to ask yourself whether you're actually living. Survival is stage one, as I said, but it was never meant to be the final destination, you know? So let me delve deeper into the questions that this lady raised in particular, and let me try to answer them. Where does my identity feel native? I think for most migrants, if we're being honest and truthful with ourselves, it's where we come from. That's the place where your culture, your humor, your food, your language, and the social norms that you're used to, it doesn't need explaining. You don't have to explain jokes to people. They just get it. The people that get you get you. It's a place where you are not at time just integrating and integrating. It's a place where you're actually truly living. That's usually home. Now, can someone build a strong life abroad and feel settled? Yes, it's possible. Some people genuinely are able to blend in. They feel free where they are. They stop feeling like outsiders, truthfully and genuinely. That's good for them, and that's real. But for many people, no matter how long they stay in the diaspora, there's always some level of adjustment for them. That doesn't mean life is bad. It just means the identity is not fully rooted where they currently live. So, is it identity or survival first? Survival comes first. That's the answer. I answered that earlier. If you can't pay your bills, secure your stay, or you're still thinking about visas, you are not able to support your family, that debate will not even cross your mind. But like I said, survival is stage one. It's not the end goal. That's not the final destination. So the next question is, what is identity without comfort? It's when you're earning and functioning, I think, but you still feel like you're living someone else's script. You don't really feel yourself, as it were. Life works on paper, but your heart is still kind of, there's a disconnect. Does this pursuit lead to light? I think that's the final question. Not always light. Sometimes it leads to you finding the truth. And once you find the truth, it helps you to make clearer and more concrete decision. Life has stages. Survival comes first. Then after a while, you start to ask yourself the deeper questions. But you need to be honest with yourself in terms of the answers you come up with. There's nothing wrong with building abroad. Nothing wrong with it. I've done it. About 19 years, I've lived in the UK. But don't lie to yourself. You need to be honest with yourself about what feels natural to you. At the end of the day, home, home is home. And I think for most people, that's where their identity feels native. And there's no need to continue to lie to ourselves that, oh, this is where I'm happy here, I'm good here. Like I said, for some people, that is their truth, that is their reality. They have no connection whatsoever with their home country. But for most people, there's a gap. And it is useful to be true to yourself and to plan ahead of time, to have an exit strategy in case that, that is who you are. Just be truthful to yourself. If you've not subscribed to our channel, please do so. Like, share if you find this post useful. My name is BC David once again. And if you want to see more of these videos, kindly subscribe. And I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.